right. Well, good morning. Welcome to Product Copy. Today, we're going to be talking in just a little while with Janice and Jason Fraser, author of the book we've been reading with our Product Copy book club, Farther, Faster, and Far Less Drama. And we're going to talk about cutting the drama in your team, your organization, and just delivering better products to market by having more high functioning teams. It's going to be a great discussion. Before we pull Janice and Jason in, we're going to hit the first cup. And we have got something really fun going on inside of Product Copy today. Excuse me. Or at least this last month. Our our we're not just going to talk about AI today. Our panelists, our first cup panelists, have been living with it for the last month. Of course, we've all been living with it to a degree. But our panelists are all participating actively in our AI Habit Lab, which is a 30-day challenge inspired by Hillary Gridley's Guide to Making AI a Daily Habit. And Kelly's going to drop the link in the chat there. But we're going to talk about what they're working on, what's working for them, what's surprising everybody, and what they'd tell someone just getting started. So we're going to start off with some introductions. And I want to first welcome from the woods of Virginia. She came out of the woods for this, actually. Allison Herbert, our senior product owner at Milliken. Hello, Allison. Good morning. All right. And he settles for Zoom. It's Jerry Odenwelder.
I'm not telling you anything else about me.
Oh, yeah, you are. You can't help yourself. And then also outside the studio, coming in on Zoom, this guy has, I swear he has been to more concerts than Jerry Garcia has. It's Jim Montgomery. Welcome back, Jim.
You mean more concerts that he can remember than Jerry Garcia?
Most likely. Yeah, I get the idea. He's got a better memory, too.
Yeah.
And maybe just a touch of gray. Anyway, and finally, last but not least, he thrives in ambiguity, but he delivers anyway. It is Chuck Blevins. Welcome back, Chuck. This is your first time on the first cup, isn't it? You've been on Product Coffee for quite a while. This is our first time getting you on the first cup.
Long time lurker, first time.
There you go. First time studio dweller. Excellent. So Hillary's challenge, some of the fundamental premises that he had is you can't study AI like you do Microsoft Excel to master it. You have to build a habit. And so we want to talk about what's landing for everybody. And I just want to start with you, Allison. Tell me about your impressions of this challenge, why you wanted to get involved with it, and what your takeaways are so far, kind of what you're getting from it.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. So hats off to Jerry because he planted this seed late last year, and I had a fair amount of FOMO with everything that happens on a daily basis with AI. That I was looking for something that could help solve that problem. We're very busy product folks. We don't have enough time in the day to do our regular jobs, and we need to learn something new. So this challenge really helped me put some context around that, and I've really enjoyed standing beside the folks in the Habit Lab to understand how we're building, talk through, hey, I did it this way. How are you doing it? What challenges did you see? So for me, it's been a great accountability practice and a great way to learn and see how other people are thinking through some of these prompts. It felt a little basic to go back to prompting. We've been prompting here for 2 or almost 3 years now.
Yep.
And certainly maybe even longer, depending on the type of work that you do. But it was a really good back to basics exercise that helped us. I get to work and I open up these browser tabs or these applications just to do life every day for my job. AI is now one of those things. And I wasn't doing that as consistently before. And I think this challenge has really helped me do that.
Very cool. What's your favorite thing you've learned so far?
I'm going to drop it because I dropped it the first week, but be 100 times more specific is the golden key. Adding that to any prompt will either help or fully overwhelm you, but it is really great to see just that simple of a prompt or adding that to a single prompt can give you way more information around an area that you're exploring or a different lens to look at. I've been doing a lot of thought, or I like to call it fighting with Claude. We've been sparring a lot, and I really enjoy having a thought partner in the experience as well.
Very good. Very good. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for participating. Thanks for your perspective. I'm going to switch over next to Jerry, who did kind of kick this thing off. And, for those who, if you're watching and you haven't jumped into this yet, first of all, you can go to the link that Kelly dropped in chat and just take Hillary's challenge for free. If you want to do it with friends and colleagues and learn with a bunch of people at the same time, encourage you to jump into Product Coffee. You can get our Insiders membership if you're not already a member. Jump in the Insiders membership. It's only $20 a month. You get access to our Slack channel and a bunch of other stuff. But one of the things that we have is we have a channel where a team is working on this Habit Lab challenge. And this 30-day challenge is broken up into phases. Like the first week, there's an assumption that you're kind of lost, even though most of us have been at it to some degree or another. It starts out with the basics, and week 2 feels a little clunky. And then week 3, maybe you're doubting yourself, but starting to gain some confidence. And then week 4, it's designed to have everything come together in a way that you've built this habit of exploration, trying new things, and you've got a whole bunch of new tools in your tool belt. And so, Jerry, where are you in that arc?
In that arc, I'm confused and baffled every day. Much like Allison, I still suffer from the FOMO, Allison, because it's coming at you so fast. Every day you learn something new, but then you look at the news and it's like, oh my goodness, I took one step forward and actually I took 5 steps backwards because the market moved so much further. So I do still feel bewildered a lot, but I feel comfortable with it.
Well, that's the key, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of one of the things and these are falling out, Devin. If I keep doing like this, I'm sorry. That's one of the things that this challenge has kind of revealed is, it started out as becoming more fluent in AI, but I feel like what we're all learning, and everybody give me feedback on this, but I feel like what we're all learning is not just how to prompt, that is part of it, but how to use AI as a thinking partner in a more strategic way.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely. I think a good thing about the follow-up exercises within the main exercises are really having you explore how the AI is responding and addressing it to what you need, so that it is much more kind of an editing and thinking tool rather than saying, hey, go do this.
Yeah, it really has become that more. It's more of a thinking partner, right?
Yeah.
So you're not sitting there alone, especially if you're working remote and you don't have anybody there with you. It's like if you were in an office, sometimes you'd look at your developers and you're like, well, I could go ask so-and-so, but they kind of look heads down busy and you kind of felt guilty about it. Now you don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, for somebody like me, for those of you who know me, I'm obviously a person who thinks by talking. So, it makes it a lot easier to kind of go back and forth with it. So, I've set it up so that it's somewhat supposed to be the unsatisfied coach.
Yeah.
So that it's always kind of pressing me back. And I find it irritates the hell out of me, but it's helpful.
So have you done the voice?
I'm not doing voice yet, mostly because my wife works from home also.
Okay.
But I've got WhisperFlow installed. I'm at the point where I am probably going to start talking to it rather than typing. Simply because the quality of that has gotten so much better now.
Yeah.
I think typing's a bit better for me, like I said, because I think by talking, I can be a little bit more concise. One of the main things we said is to ask it to be 100 times more specific too, but you've also got to force yourself to be a lot more specific about what you want. Where I can say something very vague to Jerry and we can kind of sync and he'll know how to give it back. It does not. Right. Now, I've built mine in such a way it's going to ask me 12 follow-up questions, which I love because it thinks about some smaller details from there. But I find that when I go in now, when I'm prompting, I don't just kind of off the cuff. I think about it. Sometimes I even go, going to VS Code and draft it if it's going to be lengthy, just so I can say, is this concise? Is this clear enough so I get the same output?
I do exactly the same thing. I will draft it. I don't use VS Code. I use Obsidian, but I will write a document on what I want to paste into AI before I paste it.
Yeah. I'll go to a different AI and frame out my thoughts and get it condensed down. And then I'll go take that output and take it to the AI that I'm
Oh,
actually going to work
goodness.
with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually had Claude. So I built a learning skill, and we were talking about it in the channel the other day, and I said, evaluate. I had to pull it out, and it was long. And I said, evaluate this thing for best practices. So he says, well, it's 600 lines, and our best practices, Anthropic is 500.
Yeah.
I said, okay, well, how would you make this more efficient and better? And I do these 12 things. Like, just go do it. And it threw it out there. And I've had it clarify a bunch of stuff, even the Claude.md settings. How would you optimize this for that?
Yeah.
And clean that up. It's surprisingly how well that works.
Yep. So, Jim, we were talking about treating AI like a thinking partner, not just a skill to learn. And thinking through the product lens, and your role learning through this habit lab, what's changed about how you work with it, with AI in general, since you started this habit lab?
Well, I mean, I'll be honest. I was way behind the curve on this, right? So I was, one of those. You see those ads that say, "Are you just using it as a replacement for Google?" I was kind of in that place before I started this challenge. That's one of the reasons I wanted to join in this, was to really press myself to to lean in and to understand. And it really, it's changed my world. I mean, I've used it. Some of the early exercises. I'm 10 days behind, by the way, so I'm not caught up with everybody. But some of the early exercises were very timely as well, because I had an actual project at work, and there was a series of 3 or 4 days where it was like, create an outline, and then create a presentation, and then turn that into an executive summary, and then and it guided me through, and it gave me a bunch of great artifacts to leverage for a specific conversations I was going to have around this one project. But it just opened up the world to me that I can do this with everything. Right. There was another exercise about, and I can't remember the prompt. It was earlier, maybe in the first week. But I used it to come up with a better structure for our PRDs that we use internally, and then a training curriculum on how to teach that to the team.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And so it's, yeah, I mean, even things like, give me a good and a bad example of a problem statement, or give me a good and a bad example of, of the different elements of the PRD, because a lot of times it's hard, right, for the team to conceptualize that. So it's made me better from a leader perspective, because I can use it for things like that. I can use it for, coaching my team. And then I think it was the last one we did, there was a thing where it got to the end and it said, okay, now pretend you're the person that you're trying to convince of this information. And what objections might they shoot, right? Or might they send back? And how would you respond to that? And I thought that was so cool, because that's overcoming objections is an old selling tactic, right? You get a plan for what the prospect is going to say when they say, well, we don't need your product because of X or Y. It's a skill sales guys have been using for decades. It's an amazing skill for product people, right? Because you're going to get those same objections, whether it's from stakeholders that don't quite get the vision, whether it's from your developers that are like, well, why do you want to do it? Why would we do that? Or why would we do it in a certain way? Those kinds of things. And so it's really great. And I mean, it's literally just exploded my brain and opened up my world to myriad of possibilities. And I'm only 14 days or 15 days in, I think.
Yeah.
Jim actually
we
had,
planned a lovely trip.
Yeah.
And we planned a lovely trip.
That's right. Yeah. I got my 30th anniversary trip we planned using, I think day 2 or 3, or
Day one.
very early.
day one.
Day one.
Yeah, day one.
Yeah. So we got a great trip. We're going to go to Boston for the 250th Independence Day.
Oh, wow.
Be there for
As
the
long as it's not
Boston
your
House
250th
fireworks.
wedding anniversary, then.
Not quite. Not quite, Jerry. I'll catch up to you someday.
All right.
Yeah.
Jim actually had one of the best quotes out there tying into something he said about that AI was helping him think through things that he probably would have thought of eventually. And Jim, I don't remember the exact quote. I do have it paraphrased here, but basically, you think through things earlier.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. And I think, one of the things I remember sharing that has really struck me is that it's not always a time saver.
Yeah.
At least for me. But what I find is, and let's say if I was going to spend 30 minutes to do something on my own, or I spend 30 minutes with my best friend Pepe helping me out, what I get from that second set of 30 minutes is a much higher quality, a much tighter, more focused message. It's better output than I would have done on my own. So it's not necessarily faster, but it is better quality, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been amazing. But yeah, it's, sometimes, I mean, it's certainly good at coming up with things that I wouldn't think of. It makes interpretations that I wouldn't expect it to make, which is kind of interesting. So that helps me kind of go back and clean things up that I've, entered previously to make sure that it fully understands my industry, for example. It didn't quite understand what types of products my team worked on. And so I had to do a little bit of teaching there to say, no, my team doesn't build assessments for talent management. My team builds the platforms for delivering those assessments. And then it totally readjusted everything. And it came back again with meaningful output. I said, oh, well, if that's what your team's responsible for, then do this and this and this, right? Or focus on these areas. It's just amazing. I can't say enough about it.
Yeah.
Allison.
And the beauty of it,
Go ahead.
I'm just going to pin this in. The beauty of this, guys, is just like our book club, which I've fallen away from, I know, because I've been so busy, but there's the accountability element. You're sharing with others that you're learning. And I love nothing more than going back. Like I think it's day 15 tonight. And I'll do it on my own, but then I can go back and see what other people found on day 15, or, maybe Allison will catch up someday to my day 15. But that's great because there's a certain element of, well, I know people know that I started this, so I don't want to be the guy that completely drops out. So there's that accountability piece too. That's been amazing.
Yeah.
And on that, like I'm behind too, Jim, so don't feel bad. I don't know how many days I'm behind because some of them, just because of where I am in career right now, I'm like, well, I can't do that one, right? Like I don't have a need for that thing, so I just skip it. But we had somebody join recently, somebody named Mark. I don't know that. I don't know.
He and I were having some back and forth. He was putting a bunch of responses the last couple of days.
He's playing catch up. He's been playing catch up. Yeah.
Nailing it.
Mark Lee Charles. Yeah.
Way to go, Mark.
Yeah. So while we've been talking too, I think another piece of this that surprised me is the slide. So save a PDF, give it a slide and say, what recommendations do you have? Not to nail on PowerPoint karaoke, Jason, but right, we've all created a slide that probably needed some assistance and is very wordy folk. It's an easy target for us to probably create something that's not going to meet the message that we're trying to deliver. And I was just really impressed that it was able to, I think that was one of the earlier things with Claude. I was like, it did what? It took a picture and said, do these things. And it was actually valuable and meaningful input and or right context to make adjustments.
Yep. A couple weeks ago, we had a conversation on the First Cup where a lot of what we talked about was how people are building the wrong things with AI. A lot of companies and startups and even existing companies are going off and trying to build things with AI that are decidedly human things to do, or the things that we love to do, or the things that we bring unique value to the table. And we talked about, point AI at those mundane things that you hate to do. But, and this is a completely different lens that we're talking about here. We're talking about not just using AI as a workhorse, but we are talking about using AI for the higher level thought work that we're doing as a thinking partner to help us be better. Allison, what I wanted to ask you before we start to switch gears is, in your day-to-day job, you've got a certain stack that you can use, but since you started this challenge, has the way you work as a product owner changed or evolved? Are you doing things that you weren't doing before?
100%. So I was lightly exploring some of this at the end of last year as I was, that FOMO was really reaching that tipping point of I've got to do something about this. Every single communication that I am sending as part of this, like a stakeholder communication, we have a weekly delivery cadence. So like what's going out the door type of messaging. That's been addressed. This is a really great thing. I have a new set of stakeholders that are still kind of learning how to discuss prioritization and what happens when the plan changes. As we all know, we got to talk about it. I was able to put together, here's all your problems and how are we going to, if we change it, and here's what's, I think one of our exercises was a prioritization question back and forth. And so to be able to take that would have taken me probably half a day to say, where's this ticket? And, what's the trade-off? Hey, here are the things. Go make a list of what the trade-off, and give me messaging that's customer facing or friendly to get to a business stakeholder. And I had that drafted maybe within 30 minutes, put some, context and tone into it, and then put it off to my leadership team to say, all right, if we position this, are we aligned that this can be the path forward if we need to make adjustments and changes? So I know we've all had a what do we do first or what do we do next problem with our business stakeholders just once or twice. And that to me was like really big time savings that I think I wouldn't have done previously without AI, and I wouldn't do it again without AI.
Would 10 out of 10 would recommend.
10, maybe 11 out of 10 in that situation. To
turned
Jim's
up to
point, you
11.
can
Turn to 11. Yeah.
turn it to 11. You can get turned around and to work for work's sake, and slop is real. But I think if you really have like, I want to get this out of this exercise, you'll keep yourselves in the rail and within your boundaries. Otherwise you'll just go down the rabbit hole or condo.
I would have, in my last job, we couldn't have external AI because we were regulated. But I was writing updates for C-suite, mid-level, and the project teams. And I template those as much as I can. But you still spend a good time drafting them, make sure you got the right message. I can easily see here where I'd have that pipeline set up between my email, the AI agent. Here's the draft. Here's the weekly send-up. Go do it and, send them to me for review and do that.
And you're editing it rather than creating it.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's where that lens shifts. Before you were the editor and the creator, and it was a time suck each day or each week or every time that communication needed to go out.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
And I think that's one thing this challenge has kind of helped us come to, right? Is yes, it's using AI daily, but it's helping us think about things earlier, right? Like you said,
right.
You could set up that pipeline that you used to have to do manually, and it'd just be, here are your inputs.
And that's something I could have automated earlier too. So I think, jumping on Jason's note too, a lot of companies are automating the things that the humans really ought to be doing. But also, I think they're also looking in a lot of ways to automate stuff that AI is just not appropriate for. It's overkill. It's a shotgun when you need a pistol. And you could find some traditional stuff for that because of the risks AI brings in as well too. So, those pipelines where it's language, you can use the generative pieces of that, have the human in the loop, and save a ton of time. Are hugely advantageous. And there's stuff in the business pipeline. I'm sure you can do the exact same thing too.
Yeah. So I see Mike Jankowski has got his hand up, dialing in from Phoenix. Hey, Mike, how are you?
I had to jump on this conversation. I have loved this challenge. It took me a while to get up to speed, but there I am. But one question that came in the chat that I thought was really good stuff asked is, who's using the free version of these tools and the paid plan? I'm not a glutton for punishment, but I'm intentionally using the free tools. And the thing I like about that is it limits me. So I have to kind of be more methodical going. I can't have this back and forth conversation. If I go back and forth, if I go with like a half-baked idea, I'm not going to get too far before I'm going to have to wait 4 hours for my tokens to refresh. Having that external constraint has helped me be more methodical going about it. But with that being said, I'm not sure which one yet, but we'll be getting models for like more practice and not going out with just this pie in the sky thought and like really refining that. But the constraint has been helpful, and it's been fun too. I was doing a vibe coding project in Claude, timed out on Claude, so I went to ChatGPT, pretty much copied and pasted my ChatGPT completely blew it up, like destroyed it. But it taught me a good thing too, like Jason, to your point, that maybe you use one tool to kind of refine your thinking, and you take that and you go ahead and actually apply it on a different tool. But highly recommend people to get involved if they can. And I'm learning stuff every day. It's great.
All right. So for today, I'm going to get off the camera for most of the rest of the day. We're going to turn it over to Allison. But as we said, we just finished Farther, Faster, and Far Less Drama with Janice and Jason. And Allison's been leading that discussion along with help from Jerry and Jim and a bunch of others in the book club. We're so thrilled to have them here with us. But Allison is going to be our moderator today, and take it away, Allison.
Right. Thanks, everyone. So I couldn't be more excited to get the big stage, as we call it here in Product Coffee, for this discussion. Jason and Janice were so gracious with their time and putting this book into the world for us, but really excited to have you both here. For those of you that aren't familiar with book club, I We'll facilitate the conversation today. We've got a couple of questions to help get the conversation going. But as the conversation flows and you'd like to ask a question, feel free to pop in chat. Feel free to raise your hand. I'll do my best to get to you as we get through the conversation. And it's really meant to be for an opportunity for us all to reflect and talk together. So with that said, hello, good morning, Janice and Jason. How are you?
Hello.
Hello. We're good.
Happy New Year to you. We have had a bit of cold weather here on the East Coast. I hope you all are faring your winter well. And wanted to just say thank you so much for this book. I'm sure you've heard that a billion times, but this conversation has been a great reminder of the power of community and power of going back to the basics. So I'll start us off with a couple questions. The first one that comes to mind is this book has been around for 3 years now, I think. Is it 23?
April of
How do you-
23. Yeah.
Does it feel like a shiny new baby, or does it feel like an esteemed member of your family at this point?
Oh, she's been around for a long time because we worked on it for like 4 years.
Yeah.
So, she's part of the family now.
Yeah. I mean, we worked on it for 4 years, but it started more like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The story that you tell, and I love the examples, not only the practical and real world, but you guys tie it right into daily life. I think there's a bathroom model, there's, work
Oh, yeah.
conversations. And I think this group has certainly found, and right, we've talked about it. We've got folks that are in transition. We have folks that are in different roles than they found themselves 2 or 3 years ago. The way technology moves, we know that that's going to continue to be the case. But I think when you have something as practical as it doesn't matter if it's work or personal, you can use this anywhere, that really makes it portable. So hats off to you on that. And then I wanted to just see, is there anything that you have learned since writing this book that if I could put one more chapter or one more area, is there something there that you'd wish you'd seen in this book based on what you know today with the popularity of the book, but also where we are in our personal and business world?
Jason, you want to start?
I'm not sure that I have a good start. I mean, I have ideas for other books.
Okay.
Yeah.
This book feels discreet on
Yeah.
its
Yeah.
own to me, but
There is a section I had built out more, but I needed to
Oh.
put the current thoughts out into the world before I could like wrestle the next set of thinking. And it was really around decision making.
Okay.
Like the clarity that I have now is, there are a couple different ways that people can be very, very wasteful in decision making. And it's the decisions that don't get made, right? Where it's like it takes forever to get a decision made. Like what are the things that contribute to that? And then the decisions that are very fragile that get unmade on a dime. Like what are the dynamics that lead into that? So like if I had to go and do a whole nother round of like research and exploration and ideation, it would be in that exploring that duality. Because I really feel like there are just two deeply wasteful ways that we are bad with decision making culturally, not just culturally at work, but culturally like writ large. Yeah, so that's where I would go farther, is in the dynamics around decision making, and not just from a decision science point of view, because like you can get really like PhD level wonky about that, but like in the actual behavioral, functional, active of choice when you're involved with a group of people, I think that's probably where I would go next.
Yeah. Jason, did she help you break an idea loose? Or
Oh
you still
yeah.
stand by your
Well,
statement?
no, I agree. It's totally legit. I did feel like the section 4 of the book, which is make durable decisions, that's the fourth leadership motion. That one has always been the most difficult to articulate for people, and to like when I run workshops on this, the first 3 leadership motions, the workshop sections are very, very clear, and everybody's like, yeah, this is awesome. And we get to that 4th section and I've got a good exercise to run people through. And yet that's the section that I get feedback on, where people are like, there was this thing that I was looking for one more thing, and I do think that Janice's analysis of that is right.
Yeah. We had our last conversation, which was through I think the last 3 chapters there. So very much in that last leadership motion. And I would say, and Megan, I want to put you on the spot here because I know you were there for that conversation. I keep touching my nose like, not it.
Well,
We certainly struggled with that as well.